All right, so this video is being made in the year 2018. When you watch this, it will be 2019. I hope you had a great winter vacation, Christmas holiday vacation. So in today's reference, we're going to be looking at writing linear equations, but this time we're not going to get a graph. We're just going to be given a slope and a point, or the harder version when you're just given 2 points and you have to go back and figure out the slope on your own. So there's really 3 steps. Just like before, the first step is to find the slope. But before we had a graph to find the slope, now you're not going to have a graph. You're going to have to use the slope formula. Then find the y-intercept. So before you just looked at the y-axis and you knew the b value. So now when we find the y-intercept, we're going to have to set up an equation and use our solving equation skills to find out what b is. And then once you have that, you just plug in to your equation what you found, which is your slope and your y-intercept. So here's an example again done for you. So you find the equation of a line that passes through these 2 coordinates. So as usual, if you're doing this, copy this down. You would write x1, y1, x2, y2. You can see this person here subtracted -4 minus 6, and then for the x's it was 3 minus 1. They got -10 over 2, so that's 5. So that's the first step. The slope m would be -5. So that's nothing new, but now the new thing is to you pick any point that you think is easier to work with. Try to avoid negatives if possible, and fractions and all that. But you can definitely see that this point 1/6 is probably easier to work with because there's no negatives. So now this is going to be the 1 will be your x, and the 6 will be your y. So now you plug it into y equals mx plus b, and you're going to basically, so it's y equals mx plus b. Okay, so your m you already found was -5, and then your x we chose to be 1, and your b is unknown. Now remember mx, that this means to multiply, so you might want to copy this down. This means when the 2 letters or variables next to each other, it means multiply. All right, so and then your y, like I said, not sure if I said that yet, 6. So it goes 6 for y, -5 for m, and 1 for x. So now you solve it. -5 times 1 is -5. And then you got to get b alone. So what's the opposite of -5? Yeah, you add 5 to both sides, and you get b equals 11. So now you have exactly what you need to solve the equation. You have your m and your b, and you just plug it right in there. And so it's y equals -5x plus 11. So again, you're getting your slope, you're getting your y-intercept, but no longer is it from a graph. You have to do a little bit more work. Right here it says if you pick the other point, you'd still get the same answer. You'd get -5 times 3, which would have been -15, and then your y would have been -4. Add 15 to both sides, you still get b equals 11. All right, so let's turn over the back. We'll do examples. These I made specifically so they wouldn't have any fraction slopes, because that gets really difficult. So for the first one, your slope is given to you. So, sorry, it just needs to focus here. Sorry about that. All right, so the slope's already given to you, so you can just label that right away. You have m equals 2. Sorry, 2. All right, so now I have to label my x and y. So this is x, and this is y. And now I can just write the equation out, y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to put over here, we're going to solve for b. So we're going to plug in the other 3 letters. So I know y is what? Raise your hand. -1 equals, who can plug in m and x for me? Yeah, so it's 2 times -2 plus b. So when you get this, it's -1, -4 plus b. What's the one step to solve for b? +4 to both sides. You're left with b equals 3. Okay, so the last step altogether is to write the entire equation. So we have our m, we have our b. Who thinks they can plug it into mx plus b format? Yeah, so it's going to be y equals 2x plus 3. All right, so let's try another one. This one's going to be more work because you're not going to be given the slope. You're going to have to solve for it. So here I'm going to start my work to find the slope x1, y1, x2, y2. M equals, so now I'm going to subtract my y's, -2 minus 2, subtract my x's, 3 minus 4. So my slope turns out to be, can anyone tell me what the slope comes out to? -4 over -1, which is just +4. Okay, now I got to get my b value. So for my b value, again, you can choose either one. Which coordinate looks easier to work with? Yeah, I would choose the 4, 2 as well, so you don't have to deal with that -2. So now I'm going to label this as my x value. This one's my y. It's already labeled there, but I'm just labeling it again so you can tell the difference. So now I'm going to go ahead and write my equation. So I know what to plug in. Y equals mx plus b. Who thinks they can plug in the y, the m, and the x? Yeah, so it would be 2 equals 4 times 4 plus b. So now the last step is to figure out b and solve for b. Can someone tell me what I'm left with here? 16 plus b. And then the one step, -16, -14 equals b. And so now I have what I wanted, which is my m. That's my m. And then I have my b. Raise your hand if you can write the entire equation now. I'll do it over here. So it's going to be, I'll do it over here. Y equals 4x minus 14. All right, so the next two questions, why don't we try number 2 on your own, and then number 4 we can get partners. So someone raise your hand. What did you get for number 2 for this one? What did you get for the equation? If you said -4x plus 9, you're right. Here's the work. So y equals mx, it's -3, and then we go m is -4, x is 3, you get -12 plus 12 on both sides, you get 9, and then plug it in. All right, this next part's going to have one extra step. Number 4, again, before you even start, you're going to have to do the y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So I'm going to pause the video here and see if you can find the slope and then write the equation to solve for b. You can do that with a partner. Again, the goal is to get y equals mx plus b answers. All right, can someone tell me what you got? Yeah, the correct answer was -8x plus 13, if you did it right with your partner. So when I did my slope formula, I ended up getting -8. I plug it in. I chose the 1, 5. Again, if you chose the 2, -3, it's still going to work out. So I did, for y, I put in 5. M, I put -8. And x, I put 1. Then I got -8 plus b plus 8 on both sides, got 13. And finally, substitute this in. So we're going to get much more practice today and tomorrow. We're going to use whiteboards, practice on whiteboards first. I hope this video helped you, and I hope you had a great vacation.